Before we begin, let me apologize for that audio technical glitches that we had. But as always, let's begin, shall we? And we start with health matters. The Nigerian Association of Resident Doctors has given the federal government a fresh 24-hour ultimatum to meet outstanding demands following the expiration of their earlier 10-day deadline on September 10th. Now, this decision came after a 6-hour virtual meeting of the association's National Executive Council. The doctors demand immediate payment of the 2025 Medical Residency Training Fund, settlement of 5 months' salary arrears from the Consolidated Medical Salary Structure Review, and other long-standing backlogs. They also seek payment of 2024 accoutrement allowance arrears, specialist allowances, and restoration of the recognition of West African postgraduate membership certificates. The communique was signed by NARD's president, Dr. Tokpe Oshidare, the General Secretary as well, Dr. Oluwashola Odunbaku, and Publicity Secretary, Dr. Omoha Amobi. And now to security. The Department of State Services has arraigned 2 suspected Ansaru terrorist commanders at the Federal High Court in Abuja. In a 32-count charge, Mahmoud Usman, also known as Abu Bara, and his deputy Abubakar Abba, also known as Isa Adam, are accused of committing acts of terrorism in 2022, including the attack on Wawa cantonment of the Nigerian army in Borgu local government area of Niger State. They are also alleged to have received training in weapons handling and the fabrication of improvised explosive devices, that's IEDs, from foreign terrorist camps. Meanwhile, the DSS is also arraigning, a suspected gun runner, Huzafai Haruna, on allegations of transporting 7 M16 assault rifles from Dogo village in Barakin, Ladin local government area of Plateau State to one Wakili Judo in Washe local government area of the same state. Our correspondent Joshua Marayu, who is live at the courts, joins us live now. Joshua, as always, good afternoon. What is the mood like at the courts as these arraignments have been done?
Good afternoon, Juliet. Well, I can confirm to you that the price of the down to the 14 has all been convened that security authorities, particularly the SS agents who have come to the court to bring these 2 suspects, these 2 terror suspects who are running at the court this morning. And I'm confirming to you that these 2 suspects they brought the court this morning were blindfolded and gathered with very armed security and DSS men who escorted them to the court for their arraignment. And the entire atmosphere is saying that the security is being active to ensure that there is no breakdown of law and order.
Now, we believe that they have taken their pleas. Can you update us on events at the court's premises or at the court proceedings?
Well, of course, you know that these 2 are being accused of conspiring to the leaders of the terror group called Ansaru, who has alleged links with Boko Haram and Al Qaeda terrorist organizations. So they've been accused of facilitating weapon handling and fabrication of IED, as well as receiving more practice training from foreign terrorist organizations. They are also being accused of coordinating and attacking a Nigerian army cantonment of Wawa of Kanji in Niger State. And they've also been accused of illegal mining, as well as kidnapping of several individuals for monetary gains. And these entire persons have all been accused of a 32-count charge. And surprisingly, when taking the plea today, they all pled not guilty to the count. So surprisingly, when we got to the 10th charge, that is the charge of illegal mining, Mahmoud pled guilty, and his counterpart did not plead guilty. So that's the case. Of course, the case is still ongoing. More information will be brought to you from this central.
Well, I must say thank you, Joshua, for taking out the time to join us, give us update there from the courts. We wait to see how this will play out. Clearly, this is a developing story. But once again, thank you, Joshua Marayu, there, our judiciary correspondent from the Federal High Court in Abuja. Now, there's been controversy over the recently announced 5% fuel surcharge that has continued to stir public debate across the country. Now, many Nigerians believe it is a fresh tax introduced by the present administration and currently a burden on citizens. However, the federal government government is disputing this position, saying that the surcharge has existed under the law. Now, News Central's State House correspondent Bettina Nweli joins us now. She's been following the story and she has the latest development on this. Bettina, good afternoon. Thanks for joining us, and bear with us for us keeping you under the rain. But what's the latest development with this story? 5%, but it's been in existence. What's the truth about this?
Okay, so according to the chairman of the Presidential Fiscal and Tax Committee, Mr. Taiwo Oyedele, now he has said that the 5% fuel surcharge is not immediate and it's not automatic. Now, according to him, it originates from the FEMA Act. Now, this law has been in the FEMA Act for a while, but they are just taking it away now, and it is now part of the amendment. Now, what this new tax act does is that it reinstates for harmonization. According to Mr. Taiwo, he says that the purpose of this surcharge is intended to dedicate source of funding for road construction, maintenance, transport infrastructure as well. So contrary to popular belief from the general public, it is not a brand new tax altogether. It has also always been there. But when FEMA went to the courts to say, oh, we want to start implementing this, that was when they stepped in and said, okay, instead of citizens paying multiple tax left, right, and center, how about we harmonize it into one and let them know what this is all about? However, they do say that not all fuels will be put up under this particular tax act, as some household energy-related fuels will be exempt. Now, I'm talking about fuels like kerosene, cooking gas, and compressed natural gas, CNG. Now, another thing that worries a lot of citizens is the fact that, oh, when this surcharge is implemented, it's going to affect the cost of transportation and travels and all of that. But they have also said that even though the tax law will take effect from 1st of January 2026, the implementation of the surcharge is not going to be immediate. It's something that is still based on conditions and also based on the Minister of Finance giving the Gazette order. So for now, that is what we have, and we wait to see how, when this tax is implemented, it actually benefits the well-being of Nigerians in general.
Bettina, thank you. We appreciate you for that update and clarification. We wait to see what it would look like, and most importantly, Nigerians, how they would, just continue with this. Appreciate you. That's Bettina Nweli, our State House correspondent, all the way from the capital, Abuja. This time, we'll switch gears to the House of Representatives, as the Committee on Solid Minerals is holding a public hearing on several bills to reform the sector. The hearing brings together key stakeholders, industry experts, and government officials to deliberate on the future of Nigeria's vast mineral resources potential. The proposed legislations are designed to strengthen regulation, control, and investment, and to ensure that host communities benefit directly from mining activities. Joining us live from the National Assembly is our correspondent, Idong Joseph. Idong, thanks so much for joining us. What's the focus of today's public hearing?
Yeah, for today, the focus is going to be around 12 proposed legislation trying to bring reforms to the mining sector. And key among those legislations are one which is seeking that the power and control of mineral resources across the country, which of course we know that it is in the exclusive list being controlled by the federal government, is now going to be shifting from the federal government to states, for state also to have involvement in mining activities, and also local governments to also be involved in mining activities. And others are going to be looking at the creation of mining institutions and geoscience institutions across several states. This is just like a starting point to ensure that these institutions also go across all states of the federation. So this public hearing today is focusing on shifting the control, the power to control mining resources, and also creation of mining institutions across the country.
And Joshua, why are these bills, considered important at this time?
Well, if we look at the need for diversification of the nation's economy, these bills are required to bring in reforms in the sector. Of course, we understand that over-reliance on petroleum resources has not been able to take care of the country's need. And so, if these legislations are passed, this proposed legislation, I beg your pardon, are passed, it will help ensure that diversification of the economy in the mining sector also will contribute in that aspect. Not just that, we understand also that illegal mining activities has been ongoing in several states, and it has been a sort of concern for stakeholders. And so if the states now and even local governments have control over mining activities, it will help reduce this pocket of illegal mining activities, which also contributes to some insecurity we see across states.
Idong, I must say thank you for taking out the time to join us and just bring us that insight. We appreciate you. We'll wait to see how this panel plays out and what it would mean for the restructuring of the bills when it comes to the mining sector. Once again, thank you. Idong Joseph, there's our correspondent live from the National Assembly. Let's go on a short break. When we come back, we'll bring you security stories. Stay with us. Don't go anywhere. And you're welcome back. Now let's switch gears now to health as the suspected Buruli ulcer disease outbreak continued to ravage Malabo community in Fufure. At least 6 people have been confirmed dead due to complications from the rare but devastating skin disease. The State Ministry of Health confirmed the fatalities, adding that no fewer than 67 confirmed cases recorded, with 8 under admission in the Modibo Adama University Teaching Hospital. There are growing concerns within the community due to misconceptions regarding the disease, poor access to health care, transmission, and fear of loss of lives.
Wannan ciwo ya faru daga bara shekaru 40 sana'a na dai kiyo noma. Wannan dai ciwo bara ne ya kama ni, haka nan ba wani musabbabi, haka nan kawai wurin ya kama ciwo. Wata 12 da farko dai ya fara yi man zafi, haka yana zafi. To hakan ban yi tsammanin irin wannan ciwon bane, ya dan dade a jikina ban ankara ba. To sai bayan ya yi sati kamar sati 2 haka a jikina, to ranan da ya tashi gaba ɗaya sai ya kwantar da ni, zazzabi ya rufe ni. To a cikin dare guda a ranan kafan gaba ɗaya sai da ta kumbura kusan nan. A hankali kuma da ya daɗe sai ya ta wani ruwa haka, kuma a hankali sai kumburin ya ta sauka, to wurin sai ya fashe ya yi ruwa. Wannan shine bayani. Asibiti na ta zo ana wankinsa, wannan asibiti tun ana wanke sa naga kai shin gulle yau har na koma gida ina wankewa da kaina. To ka san shi abun nan, shi ciwo yawanci suna ce wayanci sai a ce a tsaya ga na gargajiya. Na yi fama da na gargajiya, na yi kuma na asibitin, duka ba wanda ban yi ba. Da na yi na asibitin na dade ina yin na asibitin, na koma ina yin na gargajiya. To da yake akwai yara suna dan yin wasu ayyukan, yara nawa kenan. Sannan kuma da yake harkan kiyo ne ana dan yi dai a haka nan din cikin ikon Allah. Farkon shi dai kaga ga wani kurji nan, shine farkon abu. Shi kurjin haka nan kawai ya fita. A to wannan kan ban iya tantancewa ga inda na same shi, sai dai kawai bulla shi a jikina.
For more update on this, we're joined by News Central's correspondent Aishatu Sali, who has been monitoring the suspected Buruli ulcer outbreak in Adamawa, and she joins us live from the capital, Yola, to give us update. Aishat, what's the latest and what's the reaction been like with residents? What's the situation in Adamawa at this time? We'll bring you that live report in due time. We seem to be having technical issues there. Let's switch gears now to election issues. As Nigeria heads towards the 2027 general elections, more than 3.5 million Nigerians, mostly young people, have already signed up online in just 3 weeks. Now, despite the enthusiasm at registration centers, voter turnout on election day has been on a steady decline, plunging to just 27% in 2023, the lowest since Nigeria's return to democracy. Now, in this special report, News Central's Mono Bala-gbo-gbo takes a closer look at the numbers, the voices, and the urgent questions surrounding Nigeria's voter turnout crisis. Take a look.
In Lagos, Nigeria's commercial heartbeat, millions are registering for the 2027 elections. Led by the nation's youth, over 3.5 million Nigerians have pre-registered online nationwide in just 3 weeks. But history shows many who sign up may not vote, raising a critical question: Why the disconnect? With 288,614 completing in-person registration by September 4th. Osun State leads with over 518,000 plus pre-registrations, followed with Lagos with over 440,000. Youths aged 18 to 34 dominate at nearly 65%, and women slightly outnumber men, a sign of civic interest. But will these numbers lead to votes?
Most voters do not trust the system, and this came majorly from the issues has come up from different elections.
Why would somebody wants to go and give away their life because of stake their life because of some people? That itself is another very critical reasons why people oftentimes may register, but yet they will not come out to vote.
Typically, for many Nigerians, they see the voter's card, first of all, as a means of identification.
If you recall what happened in the 2023 election, there were a lot of promises leading up to the election. Oh, technology was going to deliver the best and all of that. And we saw how things turned out on elections day.
This chart reveals a troubling trend. Voter turnout has plummeted from 69% in 2003 to just 27% in 2023. On X, new registrants share optimism, but frustration lingers. Posts questioning the value of voting highlight a trust gap.
Perhaps this may lead to the conversation to also begin to ask, what is the true state of the voter register as we have? Do not also forget that this is a voter register that has been existing since 2010, 2011, when JEGA did another rounds of registration across the country. In 2010, 2011, we had over 75 million that the register captured. I think after that, in the next election, there was a cleanup and the number dropped to about 69 million. Since then, what we keep getting with every election is addition to the numbers that we have.
It takes a lot convincing the average Nigerian to come out to vote. And then when also he comes out and then they start seeing some of these irregularities, the main thing would now be, after all, we said it. Because there is already this strong narrative out there where most people feel their votes don't count.
You agree with me that there's been, different times where we have different orders. If a federal court probably can make an order, and a state high court will probably make another order, regarding the same issue. And, this has now caused, people not to trust the system as they should.
So when we have the political will, when we have a good governance system where those who are in the position of power deliberately decided to turn a new leaf to deliver the goods, to let people have dividend of democracy. So this, of course, would be like a motivation to people coming out to vote.
Democracy's strength lies not in who registers, but in who votes. In Lagos for News Central, Mono Bala-gbo-gbo.
Let's switch gears back to Yola, Adamawa State, where Aisha Tusali, who is live and she's been monitoring the suspected Buruli ulcer outbreak in the state. And she joins us now to give us update. Aisha, what's the situation like at this time, especially for residents?
Thank you so much, Judith. Currently, I'm in Yola, the Adamawa State capital, and it's currently 32 degrees Celsius. The temperature is really very hot. But away from that particular weather update, yesterday we visited the community where this particular disease, suspected Buruli ulcer outbreak, is currently ravaging. And then we spoke to most of the affected persons, and they shared some really horrifying stories with us, where they are saying there are fears for their lives because some of them had even lost some close family members, and then they are saying that they feel that there is some form of transmission of this particular infection because some members of their families had it, and then within weeks they also contracted the disease. Yesterday, whilst we were there, the health officials came and then they delivered some health commodities, which they said for the primary healthcare facility in the community they should use in treating the wounds from the skin. But technically what we are seeing is that this particular disease is really ravaging that community, and there is also the issue of underreporting of this disease, and there is also misconception that has even come to play. So many of the residents are unwilling and refusing to even come to the healthcare facility to seek medical attention, medical treatment. Although the state says that they have taken the sample to the NCDC, awaiting lab confirmation, laboratory confirmation as to what they are really dealing with. But it just means that the residents are left to their own fate for now, especially for that community where access to healthcare, even the basic infrastructure, even the road network leading to that community is really terrible. But we have it on record that some persons have been brought to the Modibo Adama University Teaching Hospital for treatment.
Now, speaking of the university for treatments, were you able to visit the hospitals? What's it looking like for those who are in the hospital?
So earlier this morning, we visited the Modibo Adama University Teaching Hospital. We're hoping to, meet with the CMD of the hospital and also visit the patients. But we're told that the patients are currently reserved at the isolation center, the infectious disease and isolation center, where they are being closely monitored. But from what I can say and what we noticed on ground, although the official who spoke with us said the patients are responding to treatment, but then there is this form of they are not really allowing us to know what the real situation is, because we're supposed to even stand in front of the hospital and establish our presence there and speak with residents. But they are saying that due to some concerns, maybe they're trying, I don't know if there is any form of cover-up or whatever is going on, but then they didn't even, really give us that information that we're looking for. But then for residents who are in Yola, they are aware that this disease is ravaging. But although the disease is really localized at the Malabo community at the moment, not in the state capital, but since there is fear, it may be infectious. But until we hear from the Nigeria Center for Disease Control, until they return the results from the lab, the state health officials are saying they can't really tell what the situation of the disease is, but they are just treating wounds, and they are saying that there has been some progress made.
Aishat, thank you so much for that update. I mean, with 6 persons already dead, time is really on our side to sort of help when it comes to misinformation and, fear about this disease. I want to say thank you once again, Aishat Salihu, our correspondent live from Yola, the capital in Adamawa State, following the outbreak of Buruli ulcer disease. Let's switch gears now to security matters, where the Kogi State government has commended the swift response of Nigerian army and local hunters, which led to the rescue of 17 passengers kidnapped along the Lokoja-Obajana Road on Thursday. In a statement signed by the Commissioner for Information and Communications, Kingsley Fanwo, the government confirmed that the victims were freed following the prompt intervention of the Nigerian army and local hunters. The rescued victims have since been taken to medical facilities for examination and care. The government also expressed deep concern over the reported attack on security operatives in Yagba West local government area, which resulted in the death of some police officers. Fanwo noted that Governor Ahmed Odoto has reaffirmed his administration's determination to rid the state of criminal elements, assuring that personal and security equipment are being deployed to strategic locations to restore security. And now to the affairs of women, as the Honorable Minister of Women Affairs, Hajia Sulaiman Ibrahim, has acknowledged a peaceful protest by her ministry's staff at its Abuja headquarters. She appreciates the staff's civil expression of concerns and recognizes the importance of staff welfare, training and professional growth as key to institutional success. According to a release by the Special Advisor to the Minister on Media and Publicity, Jonathan Eze, the minister is committed to improving staff welfare and appeals for patience and cooperation while engaging relevant authorities. The minister encourages ongoing dialogue and collaboration to achieve the ministry's objectives effectively. And now to education, as the United Nations Children's Fund, the Center for Advocacy, Transparency and Accountability, and some other stakeholders in the education sector have called for urgent commitment and increased funding to shield Nigeria's schools from the escalating wave of violence being witnessed. This was during a multi-stakeholder engagement of the UN Education and Emergencies Working Group, where they deliberated on strategies to keep classrooms as well as teachers and learners safer in Maiduguri, the Borno state capital.
There are some allocation, but it's not sufficient. Government should allocate more funding on this aspect so that children are not abducted again. There is a surveillance available, so schools have proper fencing and security mitigations are ensured. So this is important for the government to ensure that sufficient funding is available for the schools. We'll continue to see how best we'll continue to sensitize parents, sensitize children, in seeing that they take education as one of the key ways to success. For them to succeed, they need to have quality education. And for that, government need to come together, policymakers particularly, the legislators need to pass bills that has to do with the commitment of the Safe School Declaration.
Most of our schools were not fenced, and this gives room to passerbys, criminals, terrorists, and many more to have easy access to schools. The state government is now working to establish a good number of schools that can bring schools closer to homes so that children can easily access schools without trekking far away from their homes.
The President Bola Tinubu, is set to address the 80th United Nations General Assembly in New York on Wednesday, September 24th. According to a revised speaker list from the UN, President Tinubu will speak on the second day, joining 195 world leaders, including heads of state, vice presidents and prime ministers. He is scheduled to deliver his address during the afternoon session around 8:30 p.m. local time, equivalent to 2:30 p.m. in Nigeria. Tinubu will be the 17th speaker that day, addressing a global gathering that is focused on peace, development and cooperation. Now for some business news, as Nigeria has unveiled plans to rise its industrial contribution to GDP from 10% to 25% by 2035 under a new strategic framework validated at the Gas Tech Exhibition and Conference in Milan, Italy. The Minister of State for Industry, Senator John Owan, described the framework as a turning point, crediting President Bola Tinubu's reforms, including subsidy removal and exchange rate harmonization for stabilizing the economy. Owan highlighted Nigeria's youthful population, gas reserves, and reform-driven policies as catalysts for growth. NNPC executives added that gas remained central to Nigeria's industrial strategy, with projects like Train 7 LNG expansion and the African Atlantic gas pipeline set to boost output, attract investment, and position Nigeria as a regional industrial leader. India, Mauritius have agreed to work towards enabling bilateral trade in local currencies. The Prime Minister of India, Narendra Modi, has announced on Thursday after talks with Mauritian counterpart, the Prime Minister for the country as well, highlighting their close ties. Modi said the two nations share dreams and destiny and reaffirmed India's commitment to a free, open, secure and prosperous Indian Ocean. He pledged support for strengthening Mauritius' maritime security and exclusive economic zone. The Prime Minister for India also hailed the recent Chagos Agreement as a historic win for Mauritius' sovereignty, reiterating India's long-standing support for decolonization. On his counterpart's part, and as the Prime Minister for Mauritius on a state visit to India from September 9th to 16th, will also travel to Ayodhya and Tirupati. This marks his first overseas bilateral visit in his current term. And now to the stocks, as Japan's Nikkei's 225 index climbed to a record high of 44,396.95 on Thursday, before closing at about 84,372.5, up 1.22%. The rally followed Wall Street gains fueled by optimism over potential U.S. rate cuts and easing inflation. Tech giant SoftBank Group surged more than 10%, extending a second day of strong gains after reports linked OpenAI and Oracle in a $300 billion cloud computing deal. Energy and utility stocks also boosted the index, with Museo mining and smelting rising over 5%. Other Asian markets were mixed as South Korea's Kospi hit a record close, while Australia's ASX 200 slipped as well. Now, U.S. futures were steady ahead of fresh inflation data, with S&P 500 and NAFDAC posting record closes overnight. India's $283 billion IT industry faces fresh uncertainty as the U.S. considers a proposed 25% tax on firms outsourcing services abroad. The Hire Act, introduced by Republican Senator Bernie Moreno, seeks to discourage reliance on foreign workers by taxing outsourcing and banning such expenses from being written off. While analysts say the bill is unlikely to pass in its current form, it has already triggered delays and contract renegotiations by U.S. clients. The proposal comes as Indian IT firms grapple with weak U.S. demand, tariff pressures, as well as inflation. Experts warn the tax could push outsourcing costs as high as 60%, prompting legal challenges and industrial lobbying against the sweeping changes. And now to pharmaceuticals, as the Chinese pharmaceutical stocks stumbled after reports that the Trump administration is weighing sweeping restrictions on medicines sourced from China. The Hang Seng Biotech Index, slumped as much as 8.6%, its steepest fall in 5 months, before trimming losses. A draft executive order reportedly seeks tougher scrutiny on licensing deals for experimental drugs, with Chinese firms part of efforts to boost U.S. pharmaceutical self-sufficiencies. Now, shares of Hansu Pharmaceutical plunged to about 18%, while Xinchun Kulon Biotech, as well as Tiger Med Consulting, each slid to over 13%. Analysts warned of short-term market shocks, but stress China's biotech sector remains strong, with $60 billion in global licensing deals so far this year, underscoring its growing role in global drug innovation. And let's switch gears now to South Africa, as some youths who are battling to make a living in the country are now full-time waste collectors. Many are from poor backgrounds, while some cannot find employment. They are now fighting for survival, picking up bottles, plastics, and any other recyclable materials which they then sell. Now, dumping sites have become their source of income. Joining us now is our correspondent Bongani Siziba, who is live at one of the dumping sites in Johannesburg, South Africa, and we cross over live to her. Bongani, I gotta say, these scenes are not different from here in Nigeria. We've also seen what we call urban miners who are recycling, and they're always from poor background. But what sets this apart from what we see across Africa?
Yes, good afternoon, Judith. I'm here in Johannesburg. As you can see, maybe behind me, it's one of the city's largest dump sites. And you can see, if I can move out of the camera, many youths going through trash in search of anything valuable, bottles, plastics, metal, anything they can sell to make a living. For many households here in South Africa, life has become a daily struggle with the unemployment soaring nearly 33% high. And these dump sites have become a marketplace where trash has become treasure. Many households, many youths wake up, come here, scavenge enough to sell, to be able to feed their families at the end of the day. And the sad part is that many of these individuals are youths who are battling out livelihoods in a tough economy. Some come from poor backgrounds with no education at all and unable to find formal employment. So they tend to waste collecting as much as they can to survive. So it's a tough, hazardous job, but that's their only way of living. But let me just bring in one of the people that are here who do this job as their daily life. Good afternoon, ma'am, and thank you for giving us your time. You come here every day to this dump site. What do you do, and how does this help you to make a living?
Good day, everyone. My name is Precious Alexander. This is where I'm surviving from. Every day I come here for work. And as waste pickers, this is where we are surviving, as we know there's no job in South Africa. So this is where we are able to make money. We pick all this dumping, that's the trucks are dumping here. Then we sell and make money. So this is our daily bread, actually.
If I may ask, how much do you make per day?
I can say per day, I do make 1 point something.
So it's able to feed your family, yes, maybe for a week?
Yes.
Okay, Judith, you just heard from her. This is what most youth here in South Africa. I'll move away from the camera again so that my camera person can show you. You can see trucks that are here also. They come in every day just to take this trash outside to where they sell this trash. So many youths have resorted to this here in South Africa, those that are employed. It's a sad situation, but there's nothing that they can do. This is how the situation, the unemployment situation in South Africa has turned our youths to.
Thank you so much, Bongani. We appreciate you for that update. Bongani Siziba there from the capital in Johannesburg there for South Africa. Let's switch gears away from that, and this time to U.S. as U.S. right-wing activist and commentator Charlie Kirk was fatally shot in the neck on Wednesday during an event at a Utah university that the governor described as a political assassination. In a video message, Trump says he is, quote, filled with grief and anger at the heinous assassination, end quote, calling it a dark moment for America. Authorities had yet to publicly identify a suspect some 6 hours after the shooting. FBI Director Kash Patel said an unnamed person has been detained for questioning and then released. Cell phone video clips of the killing posted online showed Kirk addressing a large outdoor crowd at the Utah Valley University in Orem, Utah, around 12:20 p.m. when a gunshot rang out. Now, he moved his hand toward his neck as he fell off his chair, sending the attendees running. The campus is locked down and heavily armed police and security personnel are roaming the area. And now for more on this, I'm joined by our international correspondent and senior international correspondent and anchor, Afua Hagan. Afua, tell us, what's the latest on the manhunt on the killer?
Shot and killed at UVU, Utah University, yesterday in front of that packed crowd, sat under that gazebo at the time of the shooting. Now, his family are thought to be safe. He was rushed to hospital in an SUV before he was pronounced dead at hospital. Now, that manhunt is continuing as we speak. 2 people were arrested and released, but that manhunt is ongoing. The FBI going door to door in the area. But that shooter is still on the loose as we speak at the moment, the biggest manhunt in the United States right now.
Afua, thank you. We appreciate you for that. Afua Hagan, our senior international correspondent, joining us live from London. Switch gears away from the U.S. and now to the Democratic Republic of Congo, the Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo, where about 25 civilians were buried on Wednesday by the Red Cross workers following deadly attacks tied to the Allied Democratic Forces, a militia that has pledged loyalty to the Islamic State. The violence happened in 2 villages in North Kivu province in Ngutoyo. 71 people people were killed in a separate attack in Bini territory. 18 others died. That makes a total of 89 people killed in just these two overnight raids. According to local sources, over 150 civilians have been killed, and these incidents are part of a broader surge and violence by the ADF in the east, especially in North Kivu and Ituri provinces.
Sana kupitia masakre yenye iko natusumbua mu territoire ya Lubero, raison pour laquelle tuko parmi na familia yetu wamekufa, tumekia baleta leo sasa.
Basi tunakimbia kufatana na ukosefu wa hali ya usalama. Kisi ADF ilituingilia kwa hii mgini yetu ya hapa Ndoyo, na mumeona gisi waliua watu mingi.
Today's September 11th, and that means it marks the 24th anniversary of the September 11 attacks, a day forever etched in history. On September 11th, 2001, 4 passenger planes were hijacked in a coordinated assault by Al-Qaeda terrorists. 2 planes crashed into New York City's Twin Towers, causing both 110-story buildings to collapse within 2 hours amidst clouds of smoke and debris. Another plane struck the Pentagon, the U.S. Department of Defense headquarters, while a 4th crashed in Pennsylvania after passengers fought back, preventing further destruction. Nearly 3,000 people lost their lives, including hundreds of first responders. Each year, memorials honor the victims and preserve the stories, reminding us of the resilience and unity born from tragedy. Some dams hold back water. Others hold the weight of history. Ethiopia's Grand Renaissance Dam does both, and it's rewriting the story of the Nile. Towering along the Blue Nile, the Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam, also known as GRAD, is Africa's largest hydroelectric project. Now, it's costing about $5 billion and built entirely with domestic funding. It has the capacity to generate 5,150 megawatts, enough to double Ethiopia's electricity output and rival 3 medium-sized nuclear plants. But GARD is more than engineering at this point. It's geopolitics cast in concrete. Downstream countries like Egypt and Sudan worry the dam will shrink their freshwater supplies, potentially affecting millions of lives. While the country Ethiopia disagrees, it says that the dam will regulate the river, prevent flooding, and bring light to millions still in darkness. It also represents a quiet defiance, an end run around the 1929 Anglo-Egyptian Treaty, which gave Egypt 80% of Nile waters and veto power over an upstream project. Now, this dam stands as a symbol of African ambition and agency, which is fueled by sovereignty, not foreign loans. In a region where water is survival and sovereignty is priceless, GARD is both promise and provocation. Whether it becomes a unifier or a flashpoint depends not just on rainfall, but on diplomacy. And only time will tell. And that is your postscript.